Well, I'm Marty Mertz-LaFollette. I am what they call a senior judge in the Iowa Judicial Branch, and my husband, Joe, was retired, but he had a very active mechanic shop. He was passionate about vehicles. He had a 1968 Chevy pickup that he restored not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. Because the 3rd time he was almost done with it when it caught fire and he had to push it out of his shop, and I thought, well, that's going to the junkyard. But no, he started over again. He was very passionate about that stuff, but he was also very good at it. Joe had a marvelous sense of humor, and it would just come out when you least expected it. Okay, here's an example. When the pandemic first started, the Supreme Court had issued an order that said we're going to do everything by video conference. Well, I wasn't very skilled at video conferences, so I drove to Winterset to do the video conferences from an empty chambers. When I got home the first day, Joe had taken painter's tape and he had taped off a section of the kitchen that was my half of the kitchen because I could have been exposed, and he was not. The next day, I was home, and 8 people stopped by to see him, and I said, I'm not sure I'm the greater danger here. It might be you. But he was a really good guy. I heard someone say that, and I said, that really describes Joe. He was a good guy. Joe was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in July of 2021. He went through chemotherapy, he went through radiation, he went through an 11-hour surgery, and less than 3 months after his surgery, a PET scan showed not only was the cancer back, but it had spread into his bones. It was a long journey, but it was really hard, I think, at the end, especially for Joe. The doctor, who was, I have to say, the oncologist that was working with Joe at that time, was wonderful. He called me in the hall and he said, Joe needs to go to hospice care. And so I had talked to a friend of mine who had heard about Comfort House and said, it's really wonderful. She had been to see someone here. So I specifically asked him to send Joe to Comfort House because it was going to make him closer for friends and family to visit. And if he was nearing the end of his life, I thought it was important for those people to be able to see him. Comfort House was wonderful. I know there were other people here, but I never knew it. You would have thought all of these nurses were taking care of just Joe. They loved their job. I remember asking this same nurse how long she'd been here, and she'd been here quite a few years, and how she liked it, and she said, I love my job. And what a tribute to people who are willing to work with people at the end of their lives. This is a wonderful place.